Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I'll sit down and do a video for you guys and gals, but let me give you guys a forearm shot before we start. All right, let's get this rolling. Okay. Stuff I've had to come to terms with, and I'm going to say, look, there's been recent studies, and I may have linked them already, kind of confirming this, but the longer I've been coaching, there's something I've been saying more and more, particularly as I've worked with a wider and wider demographic of clients. I've been saying, look guys, we really can do lean gains. We don't need to bulk to the point where we're gaining a bunch of body fat. It isn't necessary. In fact, if you are not near contest lean, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it is possible to get close to the most muscle growth you can get inside of a year while gaining probably nearly zero body fat. Maybe small amounts, because maybe to optimize it, you might need to gain a very small amount. But you can probably gain at least half of your possible growth, gaining no body fat, or maybe even losing body fat. So when we look at it from this perspective, a lot of the traditional bulks and cuts don't make sense. Now, it's still a bulk. If you are gaining weight, you are bulking. So I want to be clear here. Weight gain is bulk. Weight loss is a cut. These are how the terms have been used, but people do kind of hear the word bulking, and they think of like the dirty bulk where you gain a bunch of weight. It's been, again, my experience as a coach, people don't really make better gains. They maybe seem to get a little stronger due to the leverages, maybe the recovery, other stuff involved from the larger surplus. But a lot of my clients who get the best results, who I've had for years, like for 2 or 3 years sometimes, we don't do traditional bulks. And if they do, it's super slow, meaning a pound a month. Okay, a pound a month. Gain 10 pounds over 10 months and then cut. Okay, that's the sort of bulks and cuts most of my clients do who are willing to track stuff tight. And it works and they make good gains. I mean, I've taken guys up from like mid 400 squats to 500 plus pound squats while doing this and keeping them at the same body weight over, 2 or 3 years, or inside of a 10 pound fluctuation. I've also had people just do lean bulks. Problem is it takes patience. It takes patience and you have to actually track stuff. So you have all of that, but then we start looking at the studies. What are the studies showing? The one I've talked about this recently, I think. Saw one that showed that when it was compared over several months, as small as a 3% calorie surplus versus a 10%, the 3% gained just as much muscle. Now people say, wait, so you're talking about like an extra 100 calories. Yeah, if your maintenance is 3,000. Now, if you're a grown athletic man lifting weights hard, your maintenance is probably going to be higher than 3,000. My maintenance is like 4,000. Okay, I've been cutting on like 3,500. I've been losing weight, losing body fat. So, yeah, so 3%, guys, we're talking relatively small amounts, calorie surplus. That is enough to cause muscle growth. It absolutely is. Okay. What else? Then we have there have been quite a few studies on athletes that found recomposition was possible in fairly advanced athletes. Not talking about noobs, just that it seemed to go slow. Like if you're recomping, the gains are slower. Like if you're losing body fat, it does seem to go slower. There have been plenty of studies showing that though, to where over the course of, several months, athletes have gained, a kilo of muscle and lost a kilo of body fat on DEXA scans and got slightly stronger, which you would expect, right? We've seen some of this. Strength and conditioning data, it happens. So if that's possible, then we're in a good place. The same thing when it comes to the protein overfeeding studies. All those studies showed recomposition in experienced lifters, people who are already trained. When they protein overfed, what happened? They gained muscle, lost body fat. Some of them lost body weight, but the end result, does it matter if you lose body weight and you gain 2 pounds of muscle over a period of time? Do you really care that you didn't go up? And this is when they tried to force them into a surplus, but these were stuff like, if I recall, 3.4 or 3.5 grams per kilo of body weight. So for someone like me, walking around about 96 to 97 kilos, whatever, that's over 300 grams of protein every day. They were force feeding them shakes to make sure that they hit the numbers. Well, a lot of times it ends up putting you into a deficit. because of the thermic effect, the appetite suppression. So trying to add protein. So again, that's what some of the best experts have said about those studies. I've seen people say, well, yeah, they were trying to eat their same diet as before that was maintenance and then add whatever the 200 extra grams of protein, but they may not have been in a surplus, not just from the thermic effect, but because maybe when you added 800 protein calories, they ended up eating less carbs and fat anyways, because of the effect on satiety and appetite. Yeah, it can be that strong. So if that's the case, then guess what? They were possibly in a deficit because some of them lost body weight, but they all gained muscle. What does then this tell us? That if you force feed protein, it's possible to gain muscle even in a small deficit, even when you're trying to bulk. See where we're going with this? Gain weight very slowly and eat a ton of protein to get your training dialed in, and recomposition or at least 100% lean gains appear to be possible. Bulking fast enough to gain significant body fat, according to the data. You know, people take this evidence-based approach, well, we do need a surplus to optimize muscle growth. Well, there's been data kind of showing that, but when we start getting down to fine-tuning it, it is a very small surplus. I mean, guys, we're talking about 100, 200 calories a day has been found to be enough to maximize muscle growth. So if we're eating enough, we're bulking a pound a week, it's almost all fat, guarantee you, majority of it. Unless you're a ranked novice and it might be half fat, half muscle. You're out of the novice phase, it is majority body fat that you're gaining. It might actually be as much as 5 to 10 to 1. Okay? Dudes out here, sorry about that, dudes out here gaining 10 pounds of fat, hoping to gain half a pound of muscle or a pound of lean tissue out of it. Okay, this gets ridiculous. Now, is there the exception? Yeah, if you're really, really, really lean. If you just did a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot, those sort of bulks are just to get healthy enough to gain muscle. You may have to gain some fat because you shouldn't be 6% body fat. But when we're talking about people who are 13 or 14% body fat, nice, healthy, athletic, there is no need to gain fat. There is no need for you to bulk hard enough to gain body fat to gain the best muscle growth you can possibly get. The downside, because leverages don't improve, all this other stuff, maybe the strength doesn't go up as fast. But strength isn't going to go up fast. If you're only gaining a pound of muscle every 3 months because you're not a novice anymore, and that's all your body's capable of gaining, how much do you really think your lifts are going to go up? Right? Your bench is going to go up 5, 10 pounds, maybe 10 pounds a year. Your squat might go up 20 pounds a year, maybe. If you're lucky, if that's how slow your muscle gain is. So you have to be patient with it. And you have to actually track. Or you can just try to force feed as much protein as possible, and it seems to work just as well. It seems to work just as well as bulking, but it gets you leaner. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.